I keep wondering to myself, why, oh why, do they rename certain boons? I know this is such a stupid detail for an early access, like, nerd or something like that. But C-Star used to be called Double Up. You know what I mean? And I thought that was like a fun and different name. I don't know about the rest of you. But maybe I'm kind of dwelling on stupid things, you know? And this is one of those things that's so internal that we'll never know, really. I don't think, at least. But maybe we can find out. You know what? I've had it, chat. I'm calling Amir right now. We're going to find out today. Why would you rename our beautiful boons, exactly? Hello?
Hello?
Well, hi, Amir.
Hi.
Oh, man, I got you on,
What's going on?
I got you on 180p. One sec.
What can I do for you?
I have a lot of questions, and I think we all have a lot of questions here, you know?
Okay.
And I know you're a busy man, but this is very important to me, as you can imagine, you know? Oh,
Yes.
Can we do something to kind of like prove that this is actually
That I'm
live
not
and not some
pre-recorded?
kind of weird experiment?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would you like me to do to prove my humanity? Have me do a CAPTCHA?
Glasses upside down, please, just for the briefest moment.
I'm not going to do that. I refuse. I'm not going to. This is. Is there? Okay. Do you have a reason you've called?
Yeah. So remember how like C-Star used to be called Double Up?
Yes.
Yeah. Why? That's
why? Why? What exactly is the question? Yeah. Why?
Why did you change the name? I guess.
Oh.
I feel like I might be the only person that actually wants the answer to this question.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question. The naming of stuff is Greg's department.
Passing the buck, Amir.
So he would yeah. I mean, I basically like many questions you're probably going to ask me, I'm just not really going to answer them. You know, the thing about this is we have our reasons why we do things,
okay,
and why we change things, and I don't think it's possible to give you a satisfying answer to this question, because some of it's internal, right? We're thinking about how the names sound, how their themes evolve, you know, what are other similarly named things. So those are some of the factors that go into it. But yeah, I don't know. You know,
you just wanted something more nautical, maybe?
Sure. I mean, why do you think it changed? Let me put it back on you. That's how most of these questions are going to go.
I basically just
why do you think it changed?
I just fed you an answer just to try to like get something concrete out of you, basically. Anyway, so
isn't it more fun though to not know?
I don't know, really. I don't know if that's really me. I'm just a very like I just want answers to everything, you know. My wife is so much worse. Like, no joke.
Yeah.
We watched Lord of the Rings for the first time, and she wouldn't continue watching the movie until I told her what happened at the end, because she didn't want anyone to die.
No, that makes sense though, right? Because the lack of certainty. Right?
I know, yeah. She doesn't
Scary.
like turmoil in movies, as she puts it.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. Okay, because I almost answered a question for you. Can you answer some questions for me?
I can. I should probably reveal that because I'm a terrible actor. That yeah. Let's face the fact, Amir. I mean, I guess I don't actually know if I'm terrible, but I don't think we want to find out how good of an actor I am. But you know, you did contact me and you said you'd love to come and join us and just basically have some fun discussions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wanted to drop by. I wanted to drop by for two reasons, basically. So the first reason is that I'm just really grateful, and the whole team is really grateful to all our early access players. And your stream has been like one of the sort of town squares for just, you know, joy and feedback, and you know, kind of putting the game through its paces and figuring out what works and what doesn't work and stuff like that. So you also help educate many people in you know, who are just starting out. And so first reason is appreciation. The second reason is I actually have a bunch of like questions for you about your work. As someone who has dipped into the stream from time to time, I just like I have a lot of curiosity.
Okay.
So can I ask you some questions?
All right.
That's
I mean,
mostly why I came. I came to ask you stuff.
which is interesting to me because, well, I'm sort of like an open book, so I don't really have many secrets. Is the kind of like the boring part here potentially, but at the same time, you should know my ego can only get inflated so much more, Amir. It's like I'm ready to burst already, and you have to open up with this. But I guess I'll take whatever I can get.
Well, so it's really for me, it's because I'm naturally curious and I may not have seen all the answers, right? Your chat may already know, right? I don't actually know all these things. So I'm curious. So, okay. You kind of touched upon it when you were streaming at the beginning. So you play games on stream.
This is true.
Right? I only play games on stream once in a while, as you may know, right? Last week, we did on September 17th, Greg and I streamed the original Hades game for the 5-year anniversary. And I find it so hard. I find many things about it hard, right? The talking, the listening, the playing, the saying in the conversation, all that kind of stuff. But the hardest thing is actually like feeling the game. Like, do you feel like immersion? Do you feel like you're playing it when you're streaming?
So that's actually a really good question that I don't think anyone's ever really asked or touched upon that much. I think I kind of dance around the topic a little bit because I have a lot of excuses when I fail to pay attention to, say, some dialogue or something, or I accidentally mash that next Aphrodite dialogue because, I'm just used to like mashing the button through and I miss it by accident or something like that. But yeah, that's actually a really good question. And I think for me, at least the answer is it's hard, kind of. I'm sure you've experienced this too, but when you're streaming, there's just so many distractions going on, namely the Twitch chat, and then you got like the alerts and you got like other things going on, and you're probably also trying to maintain a conversation with people when something pops up and suddenly you got to pay attention or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I think like Hades actually works really well because there's those natural breaks where you can stop and have discussions, and I think it actually led to quite a bit of I think it kind of led to a little bit of success for me because during the combat I had to kind of teach myself a little bit. It's like the talking, or rather the general vague discussions, is for during combat, but that's hard to do. But that's the hard thing to do, is to try to beat whatever fear, whatever heat or something like that while talking during the combat. And then when you actually have a boon or something, a decision to make, you have to discuss the decision. But I guess in my head, that's where I try to focus, I guess, is specifically for Hades. But in terms of the immersion thing, I think it is hard. We played through Blueprints on stream. I don't know if you played Blueprints.
I have played a little bit of it. Yes. Yeah.
I love
very atmospheric and incredible. Yeah.
I love Blueprints, and that was an easier game to get immersed in because you're not getting stopped for things like dialogue or big cutscenes or anything like that. So those types of games I lean towards, I guess I could say, because the immersion is kind of up to you, I guess you could say.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So do you play stuff off stream then? Do you end up playing?
Yes and no. I think I go through like little phases. I bought a Steam Deck last year, and since then I've been able to play stuff more. I think like outside of the streaming and Twitch and YouTube universe, before I had a Steam Deck, I probably played like less than an hour of video games for fun, so to speak. It's hard, I think, for me. But the problem isn't really that I hate playing games or anything like that. The truth is, I still love playing games, but you kind of get your fill when you end up doing it for like 6 or 7 hours a day for work, You kind of get your fill, so I just rather do other things. So I'm not like unhappy about it, but it's just like, I'm just kind of happy with the amount I consumed, I guess.
Right. But then do you have any conflict between the content that you think would make good streams, would make good, YouTube videos and stuff, and whatever your heart is chasing?
Oh, 100%. Every day, basically. Essentially every day. Because I will find this little $7 roguelike on the Steam store that just came out yesterday with 4 reviews on it, and I'll be like, I actually really like playing this game. And, make a YouTube video, and you tell people this game is really good, and, just not as many people watch it as you hope, kind of thing. And then, that experience gets cut kind of short. unfortunately. And it's like, damn.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the thing is though, like, I don't care as much about the views as I care about how much people are kind of interested in it. So I don't care if a video gets like a tenth of the views as I hope, really, as long as the people that did watch it seemed interested via like the comments and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, they were engaged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because at least like there's clearly someone's interested out there in it, you know. But yeah, it is one of those constant struggles, I admit.
Okay, I have more questions for you, but you answered some of mine, so I will give you another question.
Okay.
We'll go like a 3 to 5 to 1. We'll go to 3 to 5 to 1 ratio.
Well, you didn't agree. You didn't warn me about this, so I prepared nothing. By the way.
I know. I love it.
Okay, so I actually have a really important question, and I know, like a lot of people in chat.
I have a possible non-answer for you.
Okay,
Continue.
I know the people in chat are like absolutely burning because they got a lot of questions about the studio, about your games and stuff, and of course you got that launch coming up in like 3 days right now. So
yes.
I suspect a lot of people really would love to get your answer to this question because of that. Would you prefer brownie edges or the center of the brownie pan for eating?
That's actually a really good question. You know, no one's ever asked me that. So when I have a hard creative question like this, what I normally do is I go to the other people in the studio.
And I Amir!
Talk to them about it. You know, we're a highly collaborative environment, Haelian. I think the edges. No, I would take the middle.
I'm middle all the way.
Sorry, that was the sort of heart versus brain answer. I think my brain says you take the edges. That's a polite thing to do. Like, what kind of animal?
You eat the edges out of politeness, so not everyone has to suffer just through the edges. But
yes.
You know, the heart wants what the heart wants, right?
Right. So I think that's it. Hey, I'm looking at Twitch right now. I'm trying not to pay too much attention to the chat. Am I really just 17 pixels?
Yeah, you're basically 17 pixels for some reason. I don't know if I can fix that, but I can try.
No, it's good, actually. I like it. It's charming.
Oh no, what did I do? Okay, I fixed it.
It's all good. It's fine.
Wait, hold on.
All right.
If I can reminisce for the briefest moment, actually, and I probably told you this at some point because it's been a long time since we talked, but
it has been a long time. Actually, was the last time we talked
2021 probably?
Yeah.
A Hermes Cup almost certainly, right?
Yeah.
But you were doing
it's a long time ago.
Yeah, you were doing a developer stream for Hades 1 in the middle of early access. And it must have been very early access. Oh, look at that. Oh, it looks much better now. Thank you, Amir.
Awesome.
And I actually, so first of all, I had to spam this question in the chat to get you to answer it. So I asked it like 4 times, but eventually you did answer my question. So I was asking, were you planning to create duo boons for all the god combinations in Hades 1 because they weren't all there yet? And even then, Amir, if I may complain, you gave me the most diplomatic corpo answer I've ever heard. It was something like, you know, like we're looking at them and we're thinking about it, but we can't make any promises right now. We'll see where the development takes us. I'm just like,
yeah. What non-answer would you prefer?
Would
you prefer? No, seriously.
Yes,
would you prefer I said something like I don't know? So the problem with I don't know is it makes it sound like I don't care, or like
that's true,
or like I don't think about it, but I do think about it. So how do I say I think about it, I care? That's an interesting question. I now know you care, but beyond that, I don't have the specific thing because I'll tell you why. So our studio, the way we make things. Okay.
I feel like I got you heated up here for a minute, and I like it.
You got me juiced, Haelian. You got me juiced. So the reason why is we don't have like long, elaborate design documents that like lay out the future of the things we're making. Okay, so we like the game is the design document. We're a heavily iterative studio. We make things in game, and then we always leave time to iterate on those things, edit those things, take them out if they're not working, all that kind of stuff. Then we, put them into an early access update, and then some of that stuff we iterate on right away in a patch. Some of it gets iterated on in a future major update. Some of it takes us a few updates to figure out what we want to do with it, and then we make the change. So often, those non-answers are real because an answer does not exist, not because I'm hiding it. So I don't know where the iterations are going to take us. I don't know who is going to have the idea. I don't know if we're actually going to fill out every single one. We're still kind of learning. And so, we structure a lot of our processes around like learning. Like, what do we need to learn? Like, what do we need to know now? And what stuff can we afford to kind of know later? And so, we put in duo boons. We see how they are. We see how people use them. We see what the conversation is around them. We see how we feel about them. We see if the ideas start coming, and if they don't, maybe we take them in a different direction. So, that's just kind of one of those things where it's part of it is the process doesn't lend itself to setting in stone what will happen. Both the early access process and our development process and our design process. So I think I just gave a real answer.
I was going to say
why I won't answer.
Somehow,
yes.
Like you almost dodged the brownie question, but then when I just wanted to reminisce, you actually gave quite some revealing natures to at least how the studio operates at a minimum.
Yeah, so you can get them out of me. You just have to go sideways. we have to go a different direction. But yeah, maybe it's the way my brain works too. I just, I'm not thinking in terms of that kind of. Anyway, continue.
Okay, well, I guess that was my question. If you want to count
so
that.
So now, can I ask mine?
I guess you can move on to one of yours. I have so many follow-ups, but I feel like it wouldn't be fair.
No, it's fine. Well, my questions may run out before yours.
Okay, good.
Okay. So how was your experience of our early access? Right? Because you started in with which original Hades update did you start with?
Hades 1, I started on patch 1, technically. I was like 2 weeks late for the launch because for some reason you decided to shadow drop it at some event. And I wasn't like a streamer or anything, so I just missed it by like a week or two or something like that. But yeah.
What were you? Do you talk about your life before streaming or no?
I do, yeah. I'm an open book. I worked in retail for 12 years. It was the worst period of my life. Now that's probably like a bit harsh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would say I climbed the retail ladder. And I started as like a cashier for a company, and I eventually became a store manager. Then I moved on to like a grocery business kind of thing. And things were good back then, basically. But I don't know how much you want to get into the history, or do you want me to answer the early access?
No, well, no, I am curious. So basically, you started streaming, and it became a career slowly for you.
Yes.
Is the idea?
Yep. 2019, I think it was August 2019. I did my first Twitch stream ever. I was already I was speedrunning Hades 1 at the time already for fun. It's the first game I had ever tried to speedrun, and I just would record it and then post them on YouTube, basically. Yeah. And in my head, I was like, maybe it's easier if I just do a Twitch stream, and I'll just link the VOD or something like that. It was a terrible idea in hindsight, but then people, for some reason, came to watch, and you get hooked. There's a definite dopamine effect to having people come in and watching and asking questions, and you kind of touched on it much earlier, but I think one of the biggest joys I've realized as time goes on is just being able to help new players and help people like try to get better at the game. I don't always give the best advice, but that's the thing. That's what makes the community good, is because there's always someone there to say like, hey, I think this is better, or, maybe, you could explain that better or something like that. And I think as a community, that's how the best way to get better at a game like Hades is to join the community, I think, is talk to people, have discussions, and just kind of talk about what works and what doesn't, maybe.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So then now you've been through multiple early access for Hades video games. And what did you think of this one? How was your experience of it?
I mean, with no hyperbole whatsoever, absolutely phenomenal. In terms of a user experience, this was not really an early access, I think, from a player perspective to me. Because you basically launched in my eyes, a full game's worth of content and discovery and story and just like all the different things basically easily. Like in terms of like people get worried about like the prices and stuff like that, but it's just there's no candle really to hold against it because early access has just been absolutely phenomenal to discover, and it still feels like there's still new things to discover. And I think the updates, I think what was much different from Hades 1 to Hades 2 here is that you gave much larger updates, but less frequently in Hades 2 than in Hades 1. Because in Hades 1, at first, you were giving us updates like every 30 or 60 days for a while, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was something we learned on the first game, back to the learning thing, is like trying to figure out what should the cadence be, because every update has like a certain amount of time. Like there's a minimum price of an update, right? Of testing and trying to get everything finished and wrapped and polished and patch noted and all that kind of stuff. Have Logan record, all the patch notes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so there's like a whole process, right? So we tried to roll those learnings into this. And I don't think the learnings are like general. They're really for our team, right? They're I don't think we regret the 4 or 8 week update on the original game. We like had to try it to see what would happen, right? And so, in the original game's early access, it took kind of a while, for example, for something like Elysium to come out, right? Like it was like was right before the high speed update or something like that. I forget which one it was.
Hold on. It was called the Big Bad Update, I think. No, wait, actually, no.
Was it? Sure. No, that was the one with Styx, right? Now you and I, maybe, you and I shouldn't just remember things on stream. Yeah. Anyway, I remember it took a while. So it's one of those things where similarly, like part of our early access structure, the first 2 major updates brought whole new areas and boss fights and stuff like that. So we just kind of knew it would be a little bit different, and it was. But yeah, it was cool. Well, thank you for the kind words on the early access. For us, the process is just like absolutely indispensable. If I'm sure you have a lot of viewers who are early access players, but yeah, we if you had a good experience of it, we had a great experience of it. We like this game would not be what it was and what it is without people like playing it, trying it, F10ing stuff, telling us about it, writing feedback, making videos, all that kind of stuff, posting in all the places that people post about Hades 2. We likewise we had an amazing experience, and people take, we'll never take for granted people taking a chance on your unfinished game, and we're just really, really happy that people did. One more question on this.
Wait, I'm allowed one more question, or?
No, I got one more question for you.
Oh, you got just one. Well, let me recap like a slight bit there. It just seemed to me, I mean, of course, if you go to like subreddits and stuff like that, people ask all the time, like every single day, is this game worth it, or something like that. I think again, like Hades 2 at no point, even in patch 1, felt like an early access game to me. Things were missing, but it's almost like somehow, and I've played a lot of early access games, it's somehow, I don't know how you did it, but it felt like you did the polish first almost, and then you just kind of slowly rolled out the rest of the content that was necessary, because it just feels like such a, I don't know, such a shiny object really, where there were no real, at least, visual, audio blemishes. Of course, there's the balance stuff and whatever content was actually missing, but I don't know, it didn't feel like your average early access title, to say the least.
Well, thanks. I mean, we play a lot of, we could only have a good early access because we were inspired by so many games, I think really successful early access periods that, played Darkest Dungeon and all these other early access games back in the day, Dead Cells and stuff, where it's like, you're like, oh, wow, they this is, you have the same feeling you just described. You're like, this feels really good and almost like finished. And so, these different things I think helped guide us to the point where we got. And then, of course, we learned a lot from our own experience doing it ourselves and all that kind of stuff. The polish, what we think of as polish is often just like the necessary feedback for the thing to feel like anything at all and all that kind of stuff. So, we try to put that in and kind of do it as we go too. It just always leave time for that kind of stuff as part of the process.
Yeah.
So the updates take longer to make, as you saw.
True.
Guides. I have a question about guides.
You have a question about guides, right? Okay, in particular.
You're a guide maker, right? So
I try to.
I have a question about. Yeah, is it a different, mode? Is it a different you?
Oh yeah.
The guide maker, because when I listened, because I watched a guide the other day that you posted, and it's like, is this pre-written? Is this, you know what I mean? Or are you going off the top from the Hades knowledge and just without the chat there to distract you?
You're not supposed to be able to tell, you know what I mean? But I think we already talked about how I'm not a good actor, basically.
Yeah, I thought you're an open book, Haelian. What's going on?
So it kind of depends, like, on like the turnaround and stuff, and sometimes
Okay.
like I don't really know how much like YouTube pre-recorded video work you've tried to do, but if I want to make it sound as natural as possible, I have to like memorize the script.
Yeah.
That's a pain in the ass, Amir. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
Dude, I Greg and I completely understand. We have at various points had to record pre-recorded videos that are only like 40 seconds long, and it's like, wow, the number of takes it takes to get a 40-second video with just like a coherent sentence and idea out. And your videos are like way longer than that. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. We relate completely to that.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. But yeah, so I think in some ways, like, I try to make it sound as natural as possible, as if I'm just kind of like talking to people in a crowded party or something like that. Like, I guess that's what I strive for, but I'll admit that I give up way sooner than that. I give up way sooner than that. So it kind of depends on the video or something like that. If it's just me, like, I have, like, say, the Arcana cards pulled up in front of me, and I just want to tell people what I think of each. No script or anything like that, just kind of off the top of the dome. But a lot of times I will have to redo it because I'll realize, like, oh, I didn't talk about this, or I kind of flubbed on a bunch of words or something like that. But I think people that like watch a lot of my videos, they're used to the word flubbage to some degree anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I know what the algorithm wants, which is they want 9 quick tips are going to make you a master at Hades, basically. You know what I mean? 12 minutes. Yeah. I know that's what people want, and that's fair because there's a lot of content out there that's trying to grab your attention constantly, right? So you just got to be competitive with that to some degree. But the guide stuff, it is hard, it's challenging, it's time consuming. I think back in the day, I would say that it took me like at least an hour per minute for a guide to make. So in other words, if I made a 15-minute long guide, it would take me 15 hours to make it roughly. I'm better.
Jeez.
I'm better now.
Wow.
I think it's probably, more like, 30, 45 minutes, somewhere in that range. So it's definitely not that bad, but it also kind of depends. But the biggest investment and the hardest investment for the guides is actually just spending the time with the game to do it. Because what I discovered was that, and to some people's disappointment, that it's pretty much impossible for me to make guides for other games because I'm just not going to play them as much, and I'm not going to be able to take his part in the community and kind of get the feedback from other players and get to know the game in such detail that I can give advice to others. It's just so much time. It's just so much investment. So thus, I gave up on that. Instead, I'm just trusting that your games are going to bankroll me for the rest of my life, basically.
Oh, that's heavy pressure. We'll do what we can do. Our goal is to keep making games together as long as we can. So we'll do what we can do.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. I have time for another question, I think, and soon we'll have to wrap up.
That's fine.
Since we have a morning meeting soon.
No problem.
At Supergiant.
I'm gonna give a real question, but at the same time, I know you're not gonna give a real answer. But I feel like it's just gonna be fair. But it's a real question. I promise the audience, at least.
Okay.
And I'm sure a lot of people are really curious about the proposition of Hades 3. But I'm gonna try to make it a looser question and just say, what are your plans for after Hades 2? You think at this moment that you can share?
Yeah. So this is, somehow is the easiest question. So basically, our process is like really natural and has always been the same around this. So when we're working on our games, we're not talking about the next game. So like it's not a like the culture is really about focusing on what we have, and if we have a really good idea or have a really good thought, it should go into the game we're making, and we should put that energy towards the game that is actually the game that's coming out. And part of the reason we do it this way is the response to the game is an important part of the experience of making it. Like that's part of why early access is so amazing for us, right? We get a response, a human, real response to everything we're making in progress. Is the humor working in the game? Is this character working? Are these boons working? Are these weapons working? Is anyone picking this? Is no one picking this?
I see.
All this kind of stuff. Like it's really incredible, and is really allowed the original Hades game and Hades 2 to be what it is. And an important part of that is like, how will people respond to the finished game? And how will that response affect us and change us? Hades 2 is going to go version 1.0 on Thursday. I don't know what I will be like or what the team will be like in the response and blast to the game. 1 week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later. And so, for sure what we're doing like next is just focused on 1.0 and seeing what people are saying about it and seeing if there's stuff that we should, we need to fix or whatever, or that kind of stuff. And just that kind of thing. Then there will be a break, and then we'll process this and figure out, what the future holds for us. But yeah, it's not preordained. It's not something we secretly know right now or anything like that, because,
so you just don't know the answer. Like you have to get through this first. Like it's impossible.
Yeah, as
for you
a team.
To know.
Yeah, as a team and as a group, and part of it is because the response to the game and just how we feel about the game. Those are all like part of the alchemy, right? They're not like the last answer we're waiting for some secret plan. It's just part of the alchemy of knowing how we feel about stuff. There is no way we could have predicted what happened after the original game with the original Hades game. Just no way to know that it would connect with so many people, that it would have this longevity and this life beyond 1.0. We'd released early access updates. As far as we're concerned, it's just another update, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
And we had our player base, and we know
I was
people.
shocked too. Yeah.
Yeah, someone who makes things about the game, you saw like the interest after the 1.0 is totally. It was
like 20 times. Like it was just an absolute explosion.
Yes, it was insane, and it's like the game then had like several more huge moments after that I could have known about either, right? And so it's one of those things where that's all just part of the we need to get together, figure out what we're going to do at some point, but first we need to know how we're going to feel about this. And I can say, at least right now, the way we're feeling a couple days before launch is super grateful. So just really grateful to be able to do this work with the team we have, and with the audience and the fans we have, and with people like you who kind of serve as one of the town squares for the game. So yeah, I
gotta admit, you must feel rather comfortable if you're willing to waste time with me 3 days before your game comes out.
No, this is actually this is actually a preventative measure. So a lot of my work is to mess with the game, and if I'm talking to you, I can't break Hades 2 before the version 1.0 comes out. So a lot of people are glad that I'm here and not entering.
There you go. The boss is away, kind of thing. You don't got to worry about him messing with everything.
This is better for everybody. Anyway, all right. Thank you for having me.
Amir,
really
thank you so much for coming. Thank you. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your games. We appreciate everyone at the studio, the team. Please give our love. The team, everyone at Supergiant, we cannot wait. I mean, I don't know why I'm speaking for everyone else, but I can't wait to play the finished game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure to hit F10 many times to show all that feedback that I got just for you. I'll address it to Amir even.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to your F10s, and I hope you have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye, Amir. Mummy.
Bye-bye.
Chat. Oh, Amir. Oh, I messed it up at the end. I think one of the most grateful things to hear about, to me, is just the simple fact that, you know, they had a good time and or are having a good time through early access, and they seem comfortable and they seem happy with the product so far. You know what I mean? I think that's the number one thing, because, you know, besides the monetary stuff for a game studio, if I may get a little bit into the weeds for a minute here, besides like the monetary, having to worry about the financials at a video game studio and stuff, like, I think one of the big concerns out there is like burnout. You know, you hear about it all the time for video game studios that give dedicated deadlines and stuff like that, that the burnout, the crunch time, et cetera, et cetera. So the game industry can be really, really tough on people, you know? The game industry can be really tough on the developers, I think, and the people on the teams. And I think I'm just happy to hear that they just want to keep making games, you know, at the end of the day, no matter what it is, you know. I'm so grateful that we have a studio like this, who just, you know, they have their own visions and their own style that is so unique and so different from everyone else that, you know, you just know you're going to get a great experience every time, kind of thing.